everybody. This is Sports Guy Ron. I'm here with your recap of Week 16 games. The Thursday night game was the game of the year. We had the Rams going into Seattle. Seattle was victorious 38-37. The Rams are now 11-4. They're the 5 seed. The Seattle is 12-3, and they are now the number 1 seed. The Rams, I did pick them to win, so I lost that. I did pick them to cover, which they did by half a point, so I got the win on that one. This is a tale of two boards for that. I'm just going to let you know that. The big game was Rashid Shaheed. He had a punt return touchdown when Seattle was down 30-14. Then they made a 2-point conversion. They also converted a 2-point conversion in the red zone, where it was originally ruled an incomplete pass, but the replay showed it was clearly a backward pass that hit a helmet, and it rolled into the end zone. And Zach Charbonnet, I don't even think he just covered it just to do it because he's taught to do it. I didn't really think he really believed that he was covering it for a touchdown or for a 2-pointer. But it ended up that it was overturned on replay, and there's a tie game. In overtime, the Rams went down. They scored a touchdown, but Seattle came down and scored a touchdown also in overtime, and then went for 2. They decided to take the ball second, which is the right way to handle this new overtime since both teams get to touch the ball. And they made the 2-point conversion and were victorious 38-37. Puka Nacua, 12 receptions for 225 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had a controversial week, but he came out and played like an all-pro he is. Jackson Smith-Njigba was shut out in the first half. In the second half, though, 8 catches, 96 yards, and a touchdown. And Seattle was able to get the victory and now lead the NFC West. The Saturday games, we had an NFC East battle. Philadelphia defeated Washington 29-18. Philadelphia is now 10-5. Washington's 4-11. I get the win on that, on the win in the spread. Saquon Barkley went for 21 carries, 132 yards, and a touchdown. The Eagles went for 2 when they were up 27-10 instead of just kicking the extra point late in the game. I think that's what caused a little brouhaha between the players of the Commanders and the Eagles. 3 players were ejected. I have in parentheses here Saquon. It did appear he pushed an official, not even once, I think twice. But Adam Schefter's reporting no one's getting suspension for this. Just the ejections are it. He was not one of the players ejected, by the way. Philly's defense, they allowed 220 yards to Washington and held Washington to 2 of 10 on third downs, and they were victorious 29-18. In the second game on Saturday, another classic game, a division decider. For the right now anyways, Chicago was able to come back and defeat Green Bay 22-16. I got the win on that, on the win in the spread. Green Bay falls to 9-5-1, and they are in the 7 seed. Chicago, they're 11-4. The Bears were able to come back from 16-6 down late in the 4th to tie the game. Jordan Love, he was knocked out of this game with concussion. Malik Willis came in and played really well in his absence. DJ Moore, 5 catches, 98 yards, and a touchdown for Chicago, including the touchdown in overtime to win the game. Romeo Doubs, 5 catches for 84 yards and a touchdown. However, he was the player that muffed the onside kick that Chicago recovered before the end of regulation that led to them tying the game. So that was a big thing there. Love, I'm not sure about his availability for the Baltimore game Saturday, so we'll see about that. But 2 big games, Thursday and Saturday, that flipped divisions, at least temporarily. Sunday games, we had the Chargers going into Dallas and defeating Dallas 34-17. I got the win on that, and the win in the spread. Chargers are 11-4. Dallas is officially out of the playoff picture, 6-8-1. Justin Herbert had a very good game, 23-29, 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. George Pickens had a good game for Dallas, 7 receptions, 130 yards, and a touchdown. The Chargers offense, though, against that Dallas defense, still a problem again. It seemed to right itself for a little while, but then now it's not again. They got 452 yards against Dallas. They were 7-11 on third downs. They didn't turn the ball over. They didn't allow a sack to Dallas. So that's a winning recipe, and they did win 34-17. A battle of two teams that have no playoff implications. Minnesota went into the Giants' house and won 16-13. Minnesota is now 7-8. The Giants are 2-13. I took the loss on that on the win prediction. I did tie that on the spread predictions. It was exactly 3. The Giants could only muster 141 total yards and 13 pass yards. The Giants' touchdown was a fumble return for touchdown by the defense. Their offense did not score a touchdown. They also had an interception touchdown negated by an offsides penalty on Abdul Carter. So that took points off of the board and also led to a Minnesota field goal. So that was a big play of the game. J.J. McCarthy left with a hand injury. The x-rays were negative, though, so he may be able to play the last 2 games. Not sure. Brosmer came in and did pretty well. Max Brosmer for Minnesota. He actually was completing a few passes to Justin Jefferson, so there's hope there. So we'll see the next 2 weeks. Another game that didn't mean much for playoffs, we have Cincinnati going into Miami, and they really put it on Miami, 45-21. I got the win on that and the win in the spread. Cincinnati is now 5-10. Miami is 6-9. Joe Burrow, big game, 25-32, 309 yards, 4 touchdowns. Chase Brown, 100-plus combined yards. He had 3 touchdowns, all in the third quarter. That was pretty impressive. Devon Achane played pretty well for Miami, 15-81 and 1, but it was not enough as Cincinnati easily defeated Miami. Another division matchup to flip divisions here. Tampa Bay went to Carolina. Carolina won 23-20. I took the win on that on the win and the spread. I did have Carolina. They are now 8-7. Tampa's 7-8. Remember, they do play again in the last week of the season in Tampa. Carolina, I know, has a tough game against Seattle, and Tampa, I believe, plays Miami. So easier game. But you never know, because as this week showed, some of the lesser teams really showed up. Some of them didn't. Bryce Young, 21-32, 191 yards, 2 touchdowns. Baker Mayfield struggling a little bit still, 18-26, 145, a touchdown and an interception. Teteroa McMillan, 6 catches, 73 yards, and a touchdown. Abuka only had 1 catch for Tampa. It was a long one. It was like a 40-yarder. McMillan might be catching him for Offensive Rookie of the Year with the way he's played in the second half, and Abuka has really fallen off. I think he's got an injury, I believe, but we'll see. I saw him running, and it just didn't look like him. So I think he's dealing with something, but, McMillan's really coming on and has been a big part of Carolina's offense. The next game, New Orleans was easily able to defeat the Jets 29-6. New Orleans now is 5-10. The Jets fall to 3-12. I got the win on the win and the spread predictions. Tyler Shook, 32-49 for 308 yards and a touchdown. Chris Olave, I did mention in the preview, I thought he was going to have a huge game in this one. He did. 10 catches, 148 yards, 2 touchdowns. Shook threw his one to Olave, and Taysom Hill also threw a touchdown pass to Olave. New Orleans was 8-17 on third down. The Jets, 2-15. That's really poor. They couldn't stay on the field, so New Orleans dominated and got the victory. So that's the first board. Let's go to board number 2. Okay, board number 2, we have Buffalo. They went into Cleveland and was able to pull out a victory 23-20. I got the win on that on the win, but I lost on the spread. That's also going to be a theme on the second board. James Cook, big game, 16 carries, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cleveland's defense did hold the Bills to only 259 total yards, so that was pretty impressive. Cleveland did turn the ball over 2 times, and unfortunately, Quinshon Judkins had a really bad injury, broke a leg, dislocated his ankle. Fortunately, it's appearing that he did not injure his knee in any way, so it looks like 4 or 5 months and he'll be back being able to train properly, so he should be good to go for the start of next season. But Buffalo was able to pull out a win. They're now 11-4. Cleveland falls to 3-12. The next game, I knew I should pick Tennessee. I didn't. Tennessee won 26-9. They're now 3-12. Kansas City falls to 6-9. I took the L on that on the win and the spread. Gardner Minshew, they thought he might have torn his ACL in this game as he was the backup to Mahomes. He was filling in for him. He tore his ACL last week. It's looking like it's not a torn ACL, so he's probably going to be out the last 2 games of the season, but at least he doesn't have he's not looking at a 10-month rehab. Kansas City can only muster 133 yards. Cam Ward played pretty well, 21-28, 228, and 2 touchdowns. I feel like this is indicative of his gradual arc so far in this second half of the season. He's been slowly improving. Once in a while, he'll take a little step back, but then he goes forward again. Tony Pollard, also his late season surge, 21 carries, 102 yards rushing. So Tennessee pretty much dominated this game in the second half and was able to win going away. In the 4 o'clock games, another kind of surprise, a big game. Jacksonville was able to go into Mile High into Denver and win 34-20. I took the L on that on the win and the spread. Trevor Lawrence, he has really come on in the second half. You got to give it to him. He really has. 23-36, 279, and 3 touchdowns, 1 touchdown rushing, and that's against the number 1 defense in the NFL, or number 2 defense between them and Houston. So, I mean, you have to be impressed by that performance. Parker Washington him and Jacoby Myers have been his new favorite targets. I mean, they're dominating. It seemed like Myers made every big catch, and if he didn't, it was Washington. 6 catches, 145 yards, and a touchdown. Jacksonville, they caused 2 turnovers on defense, and then their offense, they were 4 of 6 in the red zone for getting touchdowns, so those were big stats of the game. And Jacksonville was able to defeat Denver. Jacksonville's 11-4 now. Denver is 12-3. So the number 1 seed is still up in the air in the AFC for sure. In the next game, Atlanta defeated Arizona 26-19. I took the L on that one on the win and the spread. Bijan Robinson had a big game. He had 76 rushing yards, 92 receiving yards, and a touchdown. Arizona 0 of 2 in the red zone. Atlanta was 3 of 3 in the red zone. So that's the difference in the game. That's the reason they were able to overcome an early 10-0 lead by Arizona to win the game. That's pretty much all I need to say about that. Atlanta's 6-9 now. Arizona is 3-12. And somewhat of a surprising game. Houston was able to defeat Las Vegas, but it was very close, 23-21. I got the win on the win, but the loss on the spread prediction. Ashton Genty had a really big game. He had 24 carries for 128 yards and a touchdown. He had 1 reception for 60 yards and a touchdown. Las Vegas, they allowed 3 sacks. They had an interception that was returned for a touchdown by Derek Stingley Jr. They had 9 penalties for 85 yards, Las Vegas did. Those are the things that did them in ultimately because it was a pretty tight game. And so Houston was able to pull out a victory and keep the ball rolling towards the playoffs. In the next game, this was a wild game. Pittsburgh defeated Detroit 29-24. Pittsburgh's now 9-6. Detroit is 8-7 and on fumes about making the playoffs. They would need a lot of help now. I took the L on that on the win and the spread. Detroit allowed 451 yards on their defense, 230 rushing yards to Pittsburgh. That's the difference in the game. Jaylen Warren, 14 carries, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Gainwell, he had 129 combined yards. He had a touchdown reception with 2 seconds left in the first half on a long pass. There was interference called on that play, but Detroit's defense, they could not give that up at the end of the first half, and ultimately led to their demise. Although at the end of the game, they made it close. They got down. They were trying to score. They did score 2 touchdowns in the last 30 seconds of the game. Unfortunately, they were both negated by offensive pass interference penalties. So, unfortunately, they did not win, and so they are on the outside looking into the playoffs, and they need a lot of help. In the 8 o'clock game on Sunday, Pittsburgh got even more help as Baltimore was defeated by New England 28-24. I did get the win on that, on the win and the spread prediction. I wasn't sure why Baltimore was favored by 3, but, you know, that's Vegas. Usually they know better than I do, so I'm not really, you know, who am I to judge, I suppose. Drake May, 31-44, 380 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Derrick Henry had 18 carries for 128 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he did have a costly fumble that led to points for New England and also negated points for Baltimore. He's had a little bit of an issue of that this year. Lamar Jackson left the game with a back injury. He did not return. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to play against Green Bay this coming week. It's kind of up in the air right now. Tyler Huntley played pretty well in his stead, but it was not good enough to get the victory against New England. New England's now 12-3, Baltimore 7-8, and Baltimore's going to need some help. Funny is they're going to need help actually from Cleveland if they're going to make the playoffs, because Cleveland plays Pittsburgh this coming week. In the Monday night game, San Francisco, they defeated Indianapolis 48-27. Indianapolis is hanging by a thread as far as making the playoffs with a chance. I got the win on the win prediction. I lost the spread prediction. Indianapolis did try to make it close, but their defense just cannot stop San Francisco, and especially Brock Purdy. 25 of 34, 295, and 5 touchdowns, 1 late interception, but he played phenomenally. So did Christian McCaffrey, 146 combined yards, 2 touchdown receptions. George Kittle had 7 catches for 115 yards and a touchdown in the first half, and he left with an ankle injury. He didn't do much in the second. They kind of pulled him out. I think they felt pretty comfortable with the game. Phillip Rivers did play well. Got to give it to the old guy. 23 of 38, 277, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception late that was returned for a touchdown to make the score look bigger. But he was trying to get the team back. He was, in hurry-up mode. So it was just one of those plays. And San Francisco got the win. So for the week, on the win, I was 10-6. On the spread, on the front board, I was 7 wins and 1 tie. On the back board, I had 1 win and 7 losses, so I was 8-7-1. I'm now 111, 123, and 4 on the year for spread predictions. So I'm doing really well in the win predictions, so that's the way it goes. So if you liked the video, I'd appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, if you learned a lot of stuff, I hope you did. If you feel like subscribing to my channel, if you're not already, I would appreciate that as well. I hope you all have a nice holiday season. I am going to put out an update on the playoff races. We'll be focusing on the seeds because most of the places are now locked in. And I hope you have a nice holiday. Thank you.